Hello, and thanks for joining me on this episode of Simply Saturday. I think you're going to really like today's card. It is a layout that you can use over and over again just by changing your papers or just by changing the greeting. You'll see that there's lots of options and it does come together quite quickly. So we're going to jump in and start with that. My name is Julie, and this is Stamp with Julie Baum. All right, we are using Lily of the Valley, and for today's card, we are only using the stamp. And actually, we're just using the word stamp here, and we are using the coordinating paper. So we are not doing any die cuts from this, but we will be doing some die cuts from Nested Essentials. We're going to be using these two dies. You can see that this shape has 4 different sizes nested there. We're using the smallest 2, and we're going to be using Garden Green ink. So to begin with, we're going to start with a piece of white cardstock. This piece is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and I have scored it down the center at 4.25 inches. We're going to reinforce that fold, making a very nice crease with our bone folder. Then I have a piece of designer series paper. Now this almost doesn't look like DSP, it looks like cardstock, but it is indeed a back side, or I guess it could be the front. It's one of the 2 sides of this printed paper from Valley in Bloom. And so it's just kind of a mottled green, and I really liked how that looked for this background. So this is going to go down here. Our card today is going to open this way. So changing that up a teeny bit. Sometimes our cards open this way or even a different size, but we have ours today going this way. All right, then I have some more designer series paper from that same packet. I have 3 pieces. Each one of these is measuring 1.25 inches by 5 inches. So I chose 3 that look good together, complementing each other. And all 3 are the same size. I do have another piece of designer series paper that we're going to use on the inside of the card. This strip is 3/8 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch wide. It's extra long because I prefer to do it this way. So this is about 6 inches long, but once we've attached it to the card, we're going to trim it down. So if you're starting with a piece that you need to cut, you would want 3/8 by 5.5 inches. Then I have white cardstock and garden green cardstock that I have already pre-die cut with the dies that we discussed. All right, so what we'll do is we'll do our stamping, and then we'll attach our papers to the card front. So using garden green ink and our stamp, I'm just going to stamp in the center of this really cool shape, like so. And then we're going to attach this piece to the larger piece. And it's easy to center because you've got these points above and below. And so you can just line up those 2 points. And this ends up centered very nicely. I really love this shape. All right, let's go back to our card front. The first thing I'll do is attach this piece to my card base. Now our next 3 pieces are going to get attached to this. We want to try to do them evenly spaced. And I've shown you in the past a couple of tricks where you can actually do a dry fit and then tape it in place with some low tack tape. I'm not going to worry about taping mine in place, but this is the point where you would want to do that. If you're going to tape it, you want to put piece number 1, 2, these are going to touch. I have mine touching, and 3. So since these are all touching, you're going to have a little border of the green paper showing at the top and the bottom. So you'd want to line these up and hold 2 of the 3 down with your tape. I'm going to skip that step just for the sake of time today and just move on and go for it. So I'm going to put the top one in place first. And I'm going to come very close to that green edge, but I do want it to show a little bit. And then between my right and left, I'm trying to get that equal distance and put that in place. Let's check one more time. Once this is touching and this is touching, I do indeed have a little space at the bottom, so that's fine. If you want to leave a little gap between, or if you find that you need to in order to make it look better, you can do that. I'm even thinking on this one, I have a finished one that I'll show you where they're touching. Maybe we'll look at this one with a teeny, just a hair of a gap. Let's try it. Why not? I've done card designs where I like to see the paper between. This one I didn't design that way. I designed for it to be touching, but I'm going to try it. All right, and now we'll put our last one on. I'm going to shove this a little bit closer. Thanks to my liquid glue, I can slide it a little bit. All right, and the final piece. And we'll see how we ended up. Maybe I should have had them touching, but I'll be able to show you that as well. Okay, this is fine. A little hair, and it still has some green showing at the bottom. Great. All right, we officially have 2 options. So you can leave a little bit showing in between or squeeze them together. Just be careful of your top border and your bottom border. There we have it. Now I'm going to go back to this piece that we've prepared, and this is going to go on the card at an angle like that. You could pop it up with dimensionals if you want to. I didn't find the need to, and because I am going to add some embellishments that are going to stick up a little bit, I decided to do mine flat. All right, the next thing that I want to do is make a little bow. I've got some baker's twine here. And so I'm going to tie a small bow. See if I can get it on the first try. All right, once you've got the basic shape, you can adjust the loops and the tails to satisfy. All right, let's give those a trim like so, and I'll grab a glue dot. These are mini glue dots on a roll. A couple different ways to pull this off of the roll. For today, I'm going to use my take your pick tool and just pick the little glue dot off of there, kind of roll it into a ball, and then place it on the card right where I'm going to want the center of that bow. And then this can simply get squished right into that glue, and it will hold it very nicely, and you don't have to worry about the glue taking any time to dry. It's just the best way to add your trim, ribbon, and baker's twine. All right, let's put the inside strip on the card. So back to that piece that we talked about, 3/8 of an inch. And this is going to go right down here at the bottom. Your choice. You can take your glue and put a thin line on the paper, or since I know that this is going to go right here at the bottom, I might choose to put my glue on the cardstock. Either way. All right, I'm going to leave a tiny white edge. So my green paper is not going all the way to the bottom. About like that. All right, secure it down so it is on there. And we're going to flip this over and just snip that extra length off. So if you started with a longer piece than you needed, you'll be doing this step. If you started initially with a 3/8 inch piece by 5.5 inches, then it will already fit end to end. All right, so there's just a cute little decoration for the inside of the card so that it is not left plain. And then we can do our embellishments. Now, I love these in color flat pearls. These are the 2025 to 2027 in colors. So I'm going to use the Darling Duckling and take a large one first and pop it right here on my tag, and a medium one for down here, and a small one at the top. So I've got kind of a rough shaped triangle there, which looks very nice. All right, there is our fast and easy card for today. As I said, you can recreate this with whichever papers that you want. Just pick 3 that coordinate nicely. And you could even change up this shape. I was so excited about this shape that I made all 3 cards with the same shape. But let me show you the version with papers from the same packet, but different prints. So here is this one. So I changed up my prints. I still used the green piece of Designer Series paper as a layer. Switched up my large die cut to Granny Apple Green instead of the Garden Green, and used some pearly white embellishments instead. So there's the first 2 versions. Then I totally changed it up and used different paper. This is from Paper Medley. And I went for this look. Same shape here. In this case, I did pop this up with dimensionals this time so that I was able to have my little ribbon treatment there. And in this case, I also decorated the inside slightly differently. I had scraps left after cutting these papers, and I decided to use them on the inside of the card like so. So that gives you another option. But as you can see, change up your colors, change up your sentiment, and you can get several different looks. I will mention on this one, I did not have a piece of Designer Series paper that coordinated well for that one layer. And so I just used a piece of Darling Duckling cardstock for that additional layer. So this one used DSP, which is actually a little bit lighter weight, and this one has the layer of cardstock. So there you have it, this one and this option and today's card. I really appreciate when you pop in and watch these fun and short tutorials. Thank you so much for your loyalty and watching. Please leave me a comment, and if you have not yet subscribed, there's no reason to wait on that. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can be sure to catch each and every video that I put here on my channel. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.